Hey guys, it's Nickfamus here. I've done a few discussion videos for MultiVersus speculating who we can expect to see from the likes of Cartoon Network and Adult Swim. A commenter recently requested I do a similar video about DC Comics. We already have a good handful of DC representatives in-game. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Joker, Harley Quinn, and Black Adam. And even some costumes that count as separate characters, like the Bat Who Laughs. Considering DC is one of Warner Brothers' biggest IPs, I expect we'll get a lot of DC representation on the MultiVersus roster, and there's already been some hints as to who we can expect. We've gotten hints to Aquaman, Green Lantern, and the Teen Titans, just from the launch trailer. Aquaman's trident appears falling out of the Warner Brothers water tower, alongside an assortment of other items, one of these being Samurai Jack's sword, who was recently added this season. There's a segment shown in the Teen Titans Tower with hints to both Robin and Raven, as well as a Green Lantern battery visible in the background. Also, there's a Teen Titans Tower stage in-game, currently only playable in the Rifts mode. Teen Titans is kind of a weird case because, yeah, they are DC Comics, but were popularized by the Cartoon Network show. So it's possible we'll get the comic versions and costumes for the show iterations, or vice versa. I'm really hoping Player First Games will include Beast Boy, as his ability to shapeshift into different animals would be so fun to utilize in-game, and he's the only Titan who didn't appear in any of the Injustice games yet. I find it unlikely that we'll get the entire team in MultiVersus, but I'm okay with sacrificing Cyborg and Starfire so long as it ensures Beast Boy a spot. Aquaman and Green Lantern are all but confirmed, so maybe for Season 3. I'm interested to see which iteration of Aquaman they'll go with. My guess is the classic comic look, and maybe a Momoa-inspired alternate costume. That's what they did with Black Adam anyway. I'm hoping it's Jon Stewart as the Green Lantern, but Hal Jordan is pretty likely too. Who knows? Maybe the devs will surprise us with a random Green Lantern, like Arcs. After seeing Banana Guard get added, nothing's impossible. When Aquaman and Green Lantern get added, that makes up almost all of the original Justice League lineup in-game, with the exception of Martian Manhunter and the Flash. Martian Manhunter gets neglected way more than the other members, and it's a shame. He's the only original Justice League member not present in Injustice 2's roster. So because of this, I think it's a maybe for Manhunter. I'd love to see him in MultiVersus, and he'd fit in perfectly, but it's hard to say if he'll make the cut. The Flash, on the other hand, is a must-have. A speedster in a fighting game? Hell yeah! I shouldn't even have to say how much potential there is with him. Plus, we could get cool alternate costumes for him, like the original Jay Garrick Flash and Reverse Flash. I think it's pretty likely he's going to make the cut, but probably later in the game's life. I am surprised that Aquaman is going to be added before the Flash. I'm going to briefly list some DC characters I'd love to see included in the MultiVersus roster. Lobo is such a badass villain, and one of my mains in the original Injustice game. With his bike, hook, and chain, there's definitely a fun moveset waiting to happen. I'd love to hear his trash talk. John DiMaggio, the voice of Jake, is my personal favorite Lobo, and since he's already voiced for MultiVersus, he'd be a great candidate. I'm not sure how likely Lobo is, but my fingers will be crossed. Darkseid is another iconic DC villain, and could be a unique Zoner character with his Omega Beams. Considering he's one of the big bads, I'd say he's pretty likely. Deathstroke is more than welcome to MultiVersus, another great potential Zoner, and could have a good mix-up with his up-close sword combos and martial arts abilities. As the arch-nemesis of the Teen Titans, he'd be the perfect accessory for whenever Raven and Robin get added. Mr. Freeze is my favorite Batman villain, and there is a good handful to choose from if they decide to add another one after Joker. Unfortunately, I don't imagine Mr. Freeze would be one of their first picks, maybe Two-Face, Killer Croc, or Poison Ivy. Seeing how the Suicide Squad game butchered him, maybe this is for the best. King Shark is a character I had never even heard of before the latest Suicide Squad movie. But what part about a giant, ripped land shark doesn't sound badass? Nuff said. We already have Harley Quinn, why not give us another Suicide Squad rep? Speaking of Suicide Squad, Peacemaker is another cool character I'd like to see. With his arsenal of guns and different weaponized helmets, he's a great fit. Mortal Kombat 1 proved Peacemaker is fighting game material. The only problem is, I'm not sure if Player First Games would want to spend so much money to have John Cena reprise the voice, and without him, the character wouldn't feel the same. So, probably not. Continuing the Suicide Squad topic, Enchantress is one of the most badass DC women out there, and I'd love to see her and her crazy abilities in-game. She's a lot of fun to play in Injustice 2. The devs could utilize her different magical abilities, possession, and even ability to clone herself to include another great DC gal on the MultiVersus roster. Red Hood is the final character on my list, and while I don't know a lot about the character, I know he's cool, has a unique design, and would have some interesting dialogue with Batman. I feel like if some of the others I mentioned get added to the game, like Deathstroke or Peacemaker, Red Hood's chances will be lowered significantly, as I doubt Player First Games wants to overinflate the roster with DC characters, let alone ones who mainly use guns. Those are just some of the DC comic characters I'd like to see added to MultiVersus someday. I'd be very surprised if all of these characters get added, or even this many DC characters at all. But if even a few I've mentioned today make it, I'll be a happy guy. Of course, there's lots of costume potential to be had, and my personal choice for some DC cosmetics I'd like to see would have to be the villain versions of the Justice League, the Crime Syndicate. I don't buy many cosmetics in this game, as the legendary ones are really the only ones worth it, and they're steep in price. So it would have to be something really snazzy like the Crime Syndicate if I was going to buy some. Anyway, that's been the video. What do you think? Let me know which DC hero and villain you want to see most in MultiVersus. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, this has been Nickfamous. See you later.